Alright, it's time for that moment when I don't even ask why Balatro soundtrack review. Yeah. Uh I did this because it was short and easy and no lyrics. And because I feel like this is my most played game of this year because it's like the only game I could play this year. The only one I did otherwise is I did a very, very little Splatoon Turf War. Was not worth what it did to my hands. But oh well. Either way, yeah. Balatro. It's a game that I've played a lot, that I care about a lot, and that I've praised its soundtrack a lot. A lot of people do. Now, that doesn't mean that as an EP and trying to rank it in the way that I am, that it's going to do well. But I have a lot of good things to say, even though the score will probably not be very high. But let's just talk about what this album is, what this EP is really, what it's for, what it does, and why a lot of people give it a lot of credit. First of all, it just has a good main theme. Obviously, every theme, maybe not obviously, every single theme here is directly based on and in the same kind of time frame and everything as the original track, so it does limit this a lot. Now, there is another project that I would maybe re-listen to that it's been years and years since I have, and basically every song sounds the same and it has a similar problem, but that album was also actively annoying and it was way more songs. 5 of them where there are some pretty distinct differences. It's not a thing I have a major problem with here. Still, it's only 5 songs, and the best one is pretty easily the default main theme. Between just how the synths sound, how it flows, I think it's even like a weird time signature. There's so many weird things with this song, and it just does a really fantastic job at being very inviting and entrancing. I will say, same with all 5 of these tracks, but they are very easily best made for the game itself. There are a lot of video game songs that I praise a lot where I really enjoy them outside of the game that they're a part of. These are built for this game, and they do a really good job at it, but otherwise it's kind of just a vibe, and there's not any like individual parts I can say I love of any of the individual tracks. It's more about the production elements themselves, which is not a bad thing, but it is interesting. The shop theme honestly doesn't do a ton to differentiate itself from what I can hear. I understand it feels like it's more of just a filter or maybe a couple of lost instruments or something. It's just kind of fine. I don't really have a big opinion of it. I do like that it's a bit of like a restricted version to some extent, it feels like, but I don't know. Like it does make me feel like I'm being in a dimly lit shop, but I don't really have much else to say. The Arcana theme is probably my favorite of the non-main theme ones. I really love how it sounds. The wah, 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 wah. I don't know. I will say, not that it matters with the loop that it is, but it does run a little long. But like, all these tracks are pretty much the same length, so who cares? But I do like it. And the hi-hats are surprisingly not annoying. Celestial theme is way more spaced out, but it just feels like they put a really heavy filter over the main theme. I think Arcana theme feels like it does it a lot better. So I don't know. And then Boss theme just has like one really long synth line that runs the entire song, and it's a little annoying in conjunction with everything else. It's like not bad because this song doesn't run that long and because it is a different thing from the main theme, but it just feels like a worse version of the main theme, to be honest. Overall, it's literally 5 songs. They're all kind of interrelated, and the big thing is that you can very easily, the game can just swap them out at a whim based on where you are, which I think because of that, it does do some inventive things, especially with the Arcana theme. But I feel like it could have done more, maybe in some melodic things. And there probably are bits I'm missing, like, oh, they actually changed this drum pattern slightly, they changed this thing slightly. But the amount of things that they change are so little that I'm not noticing them, and I've heard the game for so long, then that tells me it's a great soundtrack, not a great EP, which is not a bad thing. Again, there are games where the soundtrack in-game, maybe I only care so much, but outside of it, it's really great for me. Again, I love in particular the Cult of the Lamb soundtrack, which I will eventually talk about. That's a very long album. Um, but like, or even like the Celeste soundtrack, or a bunch of other ones where there's a lot more to say. And obviously, this is a very short one, but the fact that it's built around effectively one song, and that one song is very good, but I would say every alternate version is worse. It kind of makes it a little disappointing for me personally. Um, Still, I feel like the what this does, it does well. So there's only so much I can really knock it for. But I think in terms of just other game soundtracks and things, or even just other 5-track EPs, this kind of just doesn't do what I want it to do. And so, pretty controversially, I'm probably going to give it not that high of a score. I do think, I don't know. I mean, I think if Boss Theme was better, maybe I could have a reason to put it somewhere. Because I'm trying to think, like, if I compare this to something like Armed to the Teeth, which is so hard to be comparing that. Um, like, this is better than something like Sublime Currency for me. There's a lot of active, like, there's some active annoyance, but it's not much. I think this is just a 5. I think it's just a 5. I think it would be higher, but again, it's like one track from this is really good, but even then, it's like, no, I feel like it's better. Maybe a really low 6. I'm trying to think of what else is on in that area, you know? Uh, I had that Pink Panthers at 4 or something. I don't know. I think I'm just going to do a flat 5. I'm doing a flat 5. That's where I'm at. I think just because again, there are other games like I think about Milk 2 has a soundtrack that'd probably be a 1 or a 2, and that's like a game where in the context of the game the soundtrack is great, but the it just opposite problem. It's way too long, and a lot of it just I don't care about. Here, it's just like 4 of the 5 songs, or I should say 3 of the 5 songs, just don't do enough for me. Like Celestial just feels kind of thrown together. And again, the big thing with this is that it's just a Fiverr guy. And so I'm not going to diss that, but we're comparing it to a lot of other things. And so I think it's going to fall in the flat center, just a flat 5. You know that moment when I'm going to get flack for this. It's just, rating it as an EP. I do like it in the context of the game, but it's not getting bonus points.